Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. And yes, we are doing it live today, Christmas Eve style. Beautiful sweatshirts on myself and Kyle over here. He's playing Bad Santa. We're going to let it rip today, a 1-hour episode going through your Week 16 action. I joked today, Kyle, when I do those little teaser videos here, like, I know where you're at in life, most people. You're going a place today, 3 or 4 places today. You're already annoyed. You're supposed to social distance. What a great way to sit at home. Be like, you know what? I'm going to step out back with a cocktail, step out back with a smoke. I want to watch the boys talk some NFL action. Welcome into the show here, and happy holidays to everybody. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance. We got 1 hour to kick it off, Kyle. What a celebration. It's been a great year already, Kyle. So happy to do these shows with you and to spend the holidays with my best buddy here at SBR.
Hey, me too, brother. And everyone just needs to give Don, like, it's 1 o'clock where I'm at, right? I got time to get stuff done. I got plenty of drinking to do. Donnie, family man, all the pressure from the back room. He's there at 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve, guiding us through the show. And thank God he is, so we can avoid those 3 strikes. So, no, it really is. I love this year. Merry Christmas to all you guys. Happy holidays. Really appreciate you all. And, it's a real treat for me. I get the best seat in the house. I get to learn how to do my job better. And, I got the easy job while Donnie does all the dirty work. So I appreciate you, and happy holidays to you and your family as well, my friend.
Awesome, man. I'll tell you the good part about it too, Kyle, is because I got to let you know, I sent an email to the higher up, said, look, it's Christmas Eve. Kyle can handle this themselves. Came back 20 minutes later. Donnie, we talked to everybody. There's no way he's allowed on the channel by himself. So here I am. So, here we are talking NFL action, trying to save the day. But no, I kid there. That actually did not go happen, because I know somebody in the chat box will bring that up or somewhere in the notes after the show. I can't believe that they said Kyle couldn't do the show live. But here we are, ready to let it rip. And let's get after it, Kyle, because we don't have to get – usually have a Thursday night game that we set up, do some picks and props for. Not the case today, because there is no Thursday night action. They flipped it over to a nice little Christmas Day surprise. You got NFL. I don't know if you have any college basketball tomorrow or NBA, but obviously kicking it off, getting it ready to go. You do have NBA tomorrow,
5
right?
NBA games.
Big day?
Yeah.
Dude,
5
look
NBA
at that,
games.
sports.
Yeah.
Got you covered right here at sportsbookreview.com. If you miss anything NFL-wise, NBA-wise, the links are all the same here at the bottom, sprpicks.com/NFL. Get that up-to-date information you need to make you a smarter gambler. And yes, how about this? 77,400 people have hit that subscribe button for us. In no time, Kyle, we're going to be up over 100,000. That's thanks to you guys for coming in here and supporting the channels and giving us all the pain, as we like to say in the chat box. Jamil's out there. Tommy's out here. Jay Peach, Scott, Proud, Eric, Akbar, James, Oregon. Welcome in, guys. Thanks for joining us here. Let's get it started off and really have some fun here. 451, 452. Minnesota traveling down to New Orleans, Kyle, to take on the New Orleans Saints. This line's bounced around a little bit, opened up in that 7.5 range at SBR odds, but now we're taking a look here at 7s. I'm even showing some New Jersey outlets here at 6.5. It's interesting when you look at it, because the takeaway from last week was Drew Brees wasn't right. The offense wasn't moving. You're down a couple key components on offense for the New Orleans Saints, and you're waiting for Drew Brees to get those playoff wings. But also, if you look from a Minnesota perspective, they got sliced and diced last week by the Chicago Bears. Mitchell Trubisky looked great. Montgomery ran all over them. And here's always the thing that we bring up. If you take Eric Kendricks off of that defense, it's just not the same. He's not going to play this week. But also, Kyle, reading between the lines with Minnesota, it looks like their entire starting linebacking core might miss this game. That opens it up for Taysom Hill. It opens it up for Alvin Kamara. Opens it up for Latavius Murray. You might have to not have to have an aerial assault to go beat Minnesota, because as I'm looking at the line now, opened up at 52.5, now sits at 51. I actually agree with the under in this game more than a side now.
Yeah, me too. I've been taking these unders with Minnesota, because you're in these games like, man, their defense stinks. They should be able to throw the football. Dalvin Cook's amazing. They should hit the over, and they just don't get there. And now you're right. I mean, New Orleans could be down here to Emmanuel Sanders and Marquez Callaway as their wide receivers in this game, and you really want to take advantage of that secondary, the linebacking core of Minnesota. It's going to be a little harder to do when you don't have a full complement of weapons. I've kind of gone back and forth on this game. First you look at it, you're like, okay, Minnesota stinks. It's Kirk Cousins. It's on the road against a winning team. A very good defense in New Orleans, so you can't trust him. Then you look at New Orleans. Breeze looks banged up, so I feel like the 7 is a big number. It makes me a little bit nervous. I'd much prefer the 6.5. And with Minnesota, there could be some kicking issues there. New Orleans, we know Will Lutz is going to do a good job, so you don't expect any missed extra points. And it's something that we just really have to talk about now, right? The sixes and the sevens have now, and the threes have now changed to like these sixes and these twos and these fours. I'm a little bit nervous. I like the under. I think that's the safest play on this. If I'm leaning aside, even though Minnesota's without all those linebackers, if you get an engaged and competent Kirk Cousins, they should be able to keep it within a touchdown. So I'd probably take the points here because I'm so 50-50, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, because we're trying to take a look at, the snapshot of the season, because it's not really the high-flying New Orleans Saints that we're used to, because obviously they're down a couple guys. But even when you look at the last 4 weeks, and I take the Denver game out because they didn't have to do much, and I don't really care about the passing yards in that game. They still won 31-3. But even before that, the Atlanta game, 168 yards on the ground, 210 in the air. And again, that was still with Taysom Hill. The Atlanta game, 207 and 217, which is a nice offensive output, but still were able to muster 21 points in that game. You look at the Philadelphia game, which they lost. Taysom Hill still there, 24-21. Breeze comes back. Yes, you get 29, but keep in mind, 7 of those came with 4 minutes to go in a double-digit game. And still, even with that last drive, Kyle, they only ended up with 225 yards passing and a total of, 285 for the game? We know their defense is pretty good and is going to come to play here, but my question is going to be, how much can New Orleans win, and by how much can New Orleans win? Because I'm not really going against a team. Short week for Minnesota to go on the road. As I said, already banged up at the linebacker position. They're not playing for that much. I mean, probably technically still in the playoffs, but they should lose this game and shortly be out of it. When New Orleans is playing for a little bit more. And looking from the opposite side, though, from Minnesota, 31-28 games, 28-27 games, 27-24, 26-14, 33-27. They're hanging around, which is a credit, obviously, to Mike Zimmer, the head coach. But maybe that runs out. But I'm looking at that number at 7, saying if it's below that, I'm interested in New Orleans winning this game. But above that, I might just lean on that under like we talked about.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's just you just don't feel good about taking them by more than a touchdown. So you're essentially saying with the line here at 7, you need them to win by double digits. And, how healthy is Drew Brees? Now Drew Brees still working his way back, minus his top, 2 of his top 3 wide receivers, even though Traquan Smith, I don't know how he could ever be considered a top receiver at any level. He's just absolutely dreadful. So, I mean, it's not – you're probably getting an upgrade with Marquez Callaway there. It's just – you're right. The offense didn't look great. They were able, to sort of make a little run at it at the end there. And Kansas City loves to give up late touchdowns anyway, so I don't read a whole lot into that. So I like the under. I think the Saints defense can stymie the Minnesota offense. I do think the Saints win the football game. I just don't know if I can trust that 7 points. I like the call on the under. If I'm taking the Saints here, maybe I live bet this. Look, it's a standalone game on Christmas night. You've done everything. You're hanging out. You're watching the game. Let's see what they look like. Live bet it. Maybe Minnesota comes down and scores on the opening drive, and now you've got that line down to, 1.5 or 2.5. Then you can jump on the Saints and feel a lot better at it. So if I'm picking a side, that's probably what I will do is live bet it. But just picking it right here before the game, I do like the under. I completely agree with you, and I agree with that line movement too, coming down a point.
Yeah, get a nice one too on Christmas Day, 1:30 kickoff out there, Kyle. Your time, 4:30 my time, and again, it does say Thursday Night Football at the top of the screen, but it is Friday. We're still living in a Thursday mindset here, so welcome to the chat box, guys. Abdul saying Merry Christmas from Lebanon, guys. We are a worldwide chat box out here. Joe says live football talk on Christmas Eve. Love it. Hey, this is what we're here for. The show must go on, and we might say that we have a job and we work hard here, but generally me and Kyle just like to talk football, and it's nice that you guys come in and support it. And by the way, kudos to you guys who are supporting the channel all over, because last Thursday we put a lot of emphasis. The guys work really hard behind the scenes with all the graphics for the Thursday show, and it pays off, because if nobody was watching, they say, hey, why would we do that much and put everything into it? Got almost 10,000 views on our Thursday show last week, which was awesome. And it's a credit to you guys for coming in and enjoying it. They put a lot of work into the show, and the Thursday show always goes over extremely well, because the good part is, Kyle, it's good for a couple days, but the people love the graphics, commenting on all the time. But it's a credit to you guys for coming in and watching that. We got close to 10,000 views on our Thursday show. And our Thursday show is very highly viewed as out. So thank you guys for supporting us and obviously coming in here, because if you're watching it on replay, hit the thumbs up button, comment in the chat box. not the live chat box, but there's actually a comment box below the screen. Anything that you do, we certainly try to, get after it and get back to you guys and certainly answer as many questions as we have. Why don't we move over to Saturday football? This is great, man. What a holiday weekend. You get that nice, as Kyle's a huge NBA guy, a DFS guy, you get to sit back and relax. And instead of flipping the remote, hey, let's wait till the next night. No, you got an NFL game right in the middle of the afternoon, and then you get a 3 spot on Saturday. Games at 1, 4:30, and 8:15 Eastern. Let's start talking about those now. 4:57, 4:58. Tom Brady's going on the road to play the Detroit Lions. Kyle, who is left for the Lions? It's like they don't even have a coaching staff. The entire coaching staff is basically wiped out with COVID. Not only did you fire your coach, but then the new coach comes in interim. He gets COVID. And I believe just about every position coach, I'm going to be facetious here, at least 4 or 5 of them, including all the coordinators, will not be there. So it looks like Matthew Stafford probably going to be calling his own plays under center, which is interesting as is. But even looking at the injury report, there is not much resistance already with a healthy defense for Detroit. Now you're taking a look at guys like Jamie Collins probably not getting to the starting gate. It should get ugly here, but are we going to get a slow start like we always see out of Tampa Bay and need for a fast finish in the second half? We're talking a 54 over-under, which should be able to get there as long as we get Matthew Stafford playing 4 quarters. Because, hey, if Detroit puts up 20 points here, Kyle, you can almost pencil in Tom Brady and Tampa Bay should be around 30 because, again, there's not much resistance here. But that's a high numbers. Now we're seeing 10s across the board, 54s, 54 and a halves. I would say, because how many times do we say, hey, take Tampa Bay first half, -6.5 and whatever. They'll be up a touchdown at the half. And then you see last week, what the hell is going on with Tampa Bay? They didn't even score versus Atlanta. I don't know if I can rely on that. Tampa Bay is going to win this football game. But do you, Kyle, trust a double-digit victory on the road?
On the road. And I mean, slow start, fast finish. That sounds, a lot like a book of my,
there you go. Yeah.
A book of short stories. Kyle's love life, a book of short stories here. Quick start, slow starts, quick finishes. There we go. Throwing in the little Christmas cheer. It's bad Santa time, but no, I mean, I don't know what the hell you do with this game. We talk about it all the time. Taking double-digit favorites on the road is not a way you're going to make a ton of money betting on the NFL. And then you look at Tampa Bay, their best secondary player, and their secondary has been dreadful. All this zone that they play, it's reverted back to 2019. Now Carlton Davis isn't looking great for this game either. So you're looking at a really bad secondary for Tampa Bay. And I'm kind of intrigued by this idea that Matthew Stafford gets to call his own plays because even, when they went from Patricia to Darren Bevel, I'm like, Bevel, he's the one calling the plays. And when you watch a Detroit Lions game, their play calling is maddening on a kid. You're like, what the hell is going on with the play calling? So maybe it gets a little better with Matthew Stafford. I don't trust Tampa Bay as 10-point favorites. I think they're one of the more overrated teams. I'm not real big. I don't think Brady looks all that great. They're not going to have Ronald Jones. I'm not a big Leonard Fournette guy. Detroit has the worst rushing defense in the NFL, one of the 3 worst rushing. Them, Houston, maybe Dallas, Cincinnati. They're all, sort of Jacksonville. They're all somewhat sort of jumbled down there at the bottom. So, yeah, Tampa Bay should win this game. Am I going to lay 10 points on the road? Oh, God, it just feels like a backdoor cover by Detroit all the way, especially if Stafford's back there just like, hey, forego. It's going to be really weird. There's a lot of unknowns here. I don't trust either team. I think Tampa Bay wins. I might make them part of a money line parlay piece. Again, it's the early game on Saturday, so you're kind of just chilling there. Maybe I'll live bet this one as well and hope Detroit scores first early. Now, looking at that total, I think both offenses should score points. Both these defenses are bad, so I'd probably lean the over 54. That's probably the bet I feel the best about, or just taking Tampa Bay to win outright. That 10 scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, you're talking about an opening line in that 7.5, 8 range, which is a lot more palatable. And now you're seeing, as I said, again, 10s and 9.5s across the board, and you're not really getting a bargain on the total at 54 either. You would think that Stafford's going to go down firing as he usually does, but a lot of this game is going to determine what are we getting out of Tampa Bay, and specifically, Kyle, what are we getting out of them early? Because you can't have one of those, 13-10 games at the half. You're like, okay, well, let's see if we can turn it on the second half. You want one of those 21-14, 21-10 type games in the first half, so you can say, all right, let's ease into this total. It's a tough game. It is the 1 o'clock game. But looking at just on its head again, just like the first game, Minnesota and New Orleans that we talked about, one team needs it, one team doesn't. Looking at Tampa Bay and Detroit, it's pretty clear who needs it and who doesn't. Not worried about any windy conditions, rainy conditions for old man Tom Brady. He'll be in a dome. He should be able to throw to his weapons. But you are right about one thing. You don't have that explosion back. Ronald Jones is the guy who we saw earlier this year, go 90-plus yards on a touchdown run. Leonard Fournette, McCoy, they're not those type of backs. We'll see if that means they throw more, which could mean more stoppages and more big plays, and see how that turns out. Interesting game here, 4:30 out on the West Coast on Saturday, 4:59, 4:60. That is the C.J. Beathard-led San Francisco 49ers with maybe a cameo appearance by Kittle in this football game at tight end. Arizona, we saw him last week racking up close to 500 yards of offense against the Philadelphia Eagles. They should be able to score. That offense does what it wants when Kyler Murray is healthy. He is completely healthy at this time. You have one of the better wide receivers in football in DeAndre Hopkins. Decent defense on one side, but now you don't have Nick Mullins, which I got to tell you, when you initially see, when people read the headlines, say, wow, Mullins stinks, and he's not even playing. A lot of the times, that's not necessarily a downgrade. Is it an upgrade to go to C.J. Beathard? Maybe not in the case of, hey, I'm going to get 350 and 4 scores, but it can't get any lower than the bar that was set for Mullins where, hey, I'll have a good drive then a bad drive, a really good drive and a really bad drive. You can't have that in the NFL, and Kyle Shanahan, we know, is going to be able to dial some stuff up. I think they both score in this game, so I'm penciling in that 48.5, looking towards the over, but I have to say, it's another one of those games, Kyle. Yes, it's division. They're professionals. They will play hard. San Francisco is not playing for anything in this game when Arizona is trying to get into the playoffs. It's under a touchdown. If Arizona is going to win this game, Kyle, I think they can win this game by a touchdown. So I'm looking at one of those 31-24 type ball games, similar to what you saw in the Eagles game last week. I think we can approach those numbers and score.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. And Akbar, our boy Akbar, loves it when I bash teams. A lot of people do.
Yeah, I'm about to bash your
my
boys.
own team, and my 49ers stink. And now we're bringing in C.J. Beathard, who is absolutely terrible. Look, his grandfather, terrific GM in the NFL. That's cool and all that stuff. C.J. Beathard stinks. Now we're not going to have Mostert, no Deebo Samuel. I don't know why in the hell they're trying to rush George Kittle back to play him this week. Makes absolutely no sense. It's just Richard Sherman now. He's not practicing with the calf issue, so you're gonna have Weatherspoon. Jimmy Ward looks like he might not play as well. 49ers have just been absolutely decimated by injuries. I don't think they have any shot in this game. I think Arizona comes in, tells them, hey, I know you've been living here. I know you've been playing here, but we're going to treat you like the Clippers and make you the stepson of Arizona. I think Arizona smacks the 49ers this week. Just way too many injuries. Oh, and let's not also forget, they struggle against mobile quarterbacks, even when their front seven is healthy and they're dominating with that pass rush. Sort of their kryptonite are those mobile quarterbacks. They don't get much better than Kyler Murray in that department. I expect Arizona to roll in this game, but I do think the over makes sense. I think Arizona gets into the 30s, and Arizona's defense, for as bad as, and injured the 49ers offense is, the Arizona defense isn't any good either. So they're going to give up points. And, we sort of talked about that before the show, too. It's a fast-paced Arizona offense. So you get a lot more possessions, more opportunity, more points. So I think the over makes a lot of sense. But I like the Cardinals here by a touchdown easy this week.
And another interesting point also, Cobb, because you're taking a look at what do we always like to look at in December? Weather. Obviously, we know they're playing in Arizona in a dome, but also no travel for either team here. You almost get that feel. It's one of those feels that you got in the NBA bubble. We're like, holy cow, they're scoring a lot. Why? Because they're playing a game and going back to their hotel room, and then if they have to play the next day, they walk 100 yards and get back on the court. They're not taking a flight 4 hours. They're not travel delays or checking in the hotels. They already live there, so maybe you get that added bonus. But you are correct. Arizona does move fast. And if you look at the football game and you say, what's more likely here, Kyle? Arizona scoring 24 points or Arizona getting into the 30s here in this game, honestly?
Yeah, it's Arizona into the 30s. There's just no resistance from that 49ers defense. They're going to try. Look, it's a really well-coached team, but you can only do so much with all of these injuries, and they are just piling up. Like, if you've got to play Emmanuel Mosley out there, he's going to get torched. Dante Johnson, he's going to get torched. Arizona needs this game. I think they take the next step, get into the playoffs, get themselves one game closer. I will be very, very surprised if my 49ers make this even nerve-wracking at all. I took the -4 early in the week. I'm just fine with the -5, obviously. I think they get it. I would be more surprised if this was a 3-point game than a 14-point game. I expect Arizona to roll and beat up on my 49ers this week, unfortunately.
It's pretty amazing because even last week with the Eagles, who you really worried about, we know that Jalen Hurts going to be able to run. I mean, the Eagles did run for 117, but still, Jalen Hurts in his second career start with not a great trio of wide receivers, Kyle, 305 yards he racked up against that team. And also, when you flip it over and I talk about, the offense and what they can do, a healthy Kyler Murray, 525 yards. Now, they scored 33 points, which sounds great. If you remember in that football game, Kyler Murray throws a ridiculous interception, like 2nd and 5 from inside the 10, and also a 1st and goal. They threw the ball to Nuke Hopkins. He fumbled at the 5-yard line as well. I think that offense is back humming again. Against the Rams 3 weeks ago, 28 points didn't look all that good. Against the Giants, one of those games that's really slowed down, still a hurt Kyler Murray, 26 points. I think you can get into the high 20s in this one. I think, the 49ers can also push some of the issues. I like the over in that one. I think that one can get there.
Yeah.
How about the nightcap here on Saturday night? 461, 462. And we're always doubting out here some of these. And looking in the chat box, Clint Richardson Cards win easy. And Luis Humberto Ramirez Cruz. Merry Christmas Mexican food. I like that comment a lot. So, yeah. Merry Christmas Mexican food. Absolutely. Back to this game. Tua Tagovailoa, Carr. And it looks like Derek Carr is going to try to start. I don't know. Like, I don't. Maybe it's self-preservation mode where it's like, you don't want to get Wally pipped out here and be like, hey, man, I saw how Marcus Mariota played last week. If he plays again, I don't even have a contract next year. I don't know. And I do appreciate the fight in Carr trying to get back. But if you're a quarterback, and he's not mobile like Kyler Murray mobile, but he can get in and out of the pocket, an athletic quarterback. If you take that away, Marcus Mariota is by far the more athletic quarterback and played well last week. The question I have for this game is I love the way Miami is playing, but I can't seem to get over, Kyle, each and every week looking at that team, and I still have this bias saying, all right, now he's got to go on the road and win a football game. Am I saying the Vegas Raiders are anything ultra special? No, I'm not. But I seem to have that doubt in my mind every time I see Miami. I'm waiting for them to stink on offense. And even with no players last week against a team in the New England Patriots that are just trying to slow the game down, they win and cover by double digits. Miami needs this game. They got to win their last 2 games in order to get into the playoffs. I can't see Brian Flores, after so much good that he's done this year, with them laying an egg on the road. But again, the prejudice in my head still looks at that going, there's some way I want to be able to take the Vegas Raiders in this game, getting 3 points because Miami's still a young team. We saw Miami go on the road and play a Denver team and not really show up much in that game. But this is a little bit different circumstances where now the stakes are clear, win and get in. I still have to go with Miami here. As much as I have that prejudice saying young quarterback, young team, maybe they don't have to win yet, I'm tired of looking at that. Last week really, punched that image into my mind that says they can win. And that's a great head football coach, and they will be prepared. Give me the Dolphins in this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, this does, you touched on it, this does have the feeling of a trap, right? Like all the stars aligned.
It does.
If there is a feel of a trap here, oh God, there's another game that I think is a trap too. We'll get to that in a little bit. This one feels like a trap, but the smart play, the smart money's on the Dolphins. Look, the Raiders, you're gonna have a banged up quarterback, probably gonna be without Henry Ruggs. We'll see.
Out.
And Nick Kwiatkowski, their best defensive player, is out. That defense absolutely stinks. Now Miami, there's questions. We got limited Devontae Parker in the hamstring, Jakeem Grant the hamstring. Mike Gesicki's shoulder. Usually they play through those shoulder things. I'm not all that concerned about the shoulder issue for Gesicki. So it makes you nervous. You're like, okay, the wheels got to fall off sometimes. But I just think that Miami defense is too good, especially if Derek Carr is limited and he's without Ruggs and a couple of those weapons out there. Miami's the better football team, excellent defense. It's going to be very, very. They're going to have to run the ball really well against Miami if they have any shot of winning this game, because you're not going to take Aguilar and maybe Ruggs and Renfro or whatever and get open against Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. That's just simply not happening. So Miami's the pick here. The Raiders finally have become the Raiders that we thought they were, so I don't look so dumb from what I was saying early in the week. I like the Miami Dolphins. I'm right there with you, and I actually kind of like the under in this game. I don't think the Raiders put up a ton of points against that defense. Not an explosive Miami offense. Now they are capable of causing turnovers, maybe a pick six. Miami, it seems like every game they force 1, 2, 3 turnovers. So that would be the concern there. But right now I would lean that under 48, and I'll take the Dolphins on the road.
I like the emphasis you're going here because, I think the under makes sense. And again, it's playoff time now. We wheeling and dealing, Kyle, like on let's just say the game is 3-3 in the second quarter. You have a 4th and 4 from the opposing 46-yard line. 2 weeks ago, let's see what the offense has. Let's roll the dice. Let's play, real analytical football here. But now you're saying, you know what? Let's punt it back. Let's play good defense. See if they can go 80 yards. It does change a little bit. But here's the issue that's coming up just a little bit. when we take a look at the Miami Dolphins on defense, I consider them a pretty good defense. They go up against Denver, right? A bad offense to me overall. They give up 20 points, which isn't bad.
Sure.
They play the Jets. They shut them down to 3 points. They play Cincinnati, shut them down to 7 points. You say, man, that's really good. But you're talking about bottom basement offenses with really bad quarterback play. Then when you step back up, you go to see Kansas City. They hang 33 on you. And then you go back down to New England, who can't throw a forward pass, and you hold them to 12. Because earlier in the season also, you saw the games where, the Arizona's dropped 31 on them. And, it's just that dichotomy of, are we really going to get to see what we want? Because say what you want. When Vegas is healthy on offense, they can move the football. They got some dynamic weapons here. Yeah. Can they still hold up and return fire? I still think they can in this game. So I'm going to keep with my initial thoughts here and say, you know what? I'm tired of doubting the Dolphins. Last week showed me a lot. They should be able to get into the playoffs with 2 wins. They're going to win this football game. So that's where we're going here. That is the Saturday card. Let's move it over to Sunday, and we're going to keep it in rotational order despite some of these games changing some of the times. 4:53, 4:54. This is actually a 4 o'clock game on Sunday between Denver and the Los Angeles Chargers. One of the harder caps that I have this week, and why is that? Both teams out of the playoffs, and so many musical chairs on who's in and who's out. We already know Denver's defense, which probably could have been a top 10 defense all year if it stayed healthy. Now we're looking at a decimated secondary. You're playing guys that don't deserve to be in the NFL. But more importantly now, the one thing that you can always lean on was a decent pass rush. Now you might be looking at no Bradley Chubb. You say, okay, the Chargers, Kyle, should be the easier play for me in this game. At home, young quarterback, he's the one that's dealing. But now we're going to get Keenan Allen coming into this football game as a question mark at playing. You just saw the COVID list come out. Hunter Henry is on it. Yep. So now you're saying, all right, if I'm down those 2 guys, are we handing the ball off? And who's playing for what here a day after Christmas? It's such a tough one that I actually look at that line and I say, if it's 3.5, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos here.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, right? You're just taking the points because you can't trust either one of these teams. Now you're looking at also we got Joey Bosa in concussion protocol here.
Correct.
So
yes. Yep.
Drew Lock should be able to have some time. And, they do have weapons out there, Judy and Hamler and Patrick and Noah Fant. And Philip Lindsay looks pretty iffy for this game. So you might get a lot of Melvin Gordon, which is probably better for them. A little revenge narrative as well for Gordon against his former Chargers team who did not want to give him that contract. So, look, 2 bad teams playing for nothing, a lot of injuries both sides. If Keenan Allen isn't full go, now you're without Hunter Henry as well, so you're relying on guys like, Jalen Guyton and Tyron Johnson and Donald Parham. Like, I'll pass on that. Do I like Justin Herbert exponentially more than Drew Lock? Of course I do. But honestly, on this one, I'll just take the points. And for my real money, for my own money, not a chance in hell I'm putting a single dime on this game. I will be running for the hills on this game, but picking a side here, just take the points, take the Broncos. Won't shock me if it goes either way. 2 bad teams playing for nothing. Run away from it is what I say.
No, you're right. There's a lot better games on the card. And you know what the good part about that game is, Kyle? We'll know who's in by Sunday, 12 p.m., or at least we'll know a semblance even more because we won't have the official, inactives because that game's a little bit later. But tune in on Sunday afternoon, 12 p.m., and we go over the closing line to be able to wrap it up and say, you know what? This guy's in, this guy's out. This is what we really like. It lines up as an over to me because I don't think you have much to play for on both sides, which usually says, what the heck? 4th and 5 at the 50? Only good things can happen. Why? Because if they punt it, it goes inside the 10-yard line. But now you say, hey, just go for it. If they get it, awesome. If they don't get it, fantastic. Goes back the other way at the 50-yard line. So a lot of those late season shenanigans pop into it. 455, 456, Kyle, Cleveland and the New York Jets, fresh off the victory last week. So you don't have that, we need one more win to get off the schneid. We can't be embarrassed with those 0 wins. You already gave your fan base coal, and now you're looking for more. Do I think they're going to be able to beat the Cleveland Browns? Absolutely not. But now we're looking at a line of 10. And when I look at the overall, just slide it back and say, well, how are these teams playing? The Jets are such an interesting franchise. Why? Because they score 28 points. Then they score 3. Then they score 28. And then they score 3. And then they go on the road, 17-point dogs, and pull an outright upset, which is, if you watch that game, the Jets, Kyle, dominated the Rams. It's like, what is going on in the NFL? But now you're going to get a tough test here because you're going to have to get really physical. Maybe Jared Goff can't throw you to victory. Cam Akers gets banged up. They're not the most physical offense, more finesse. Now you're getting Cleveland lunch pail that late in the season, do you want to go head-to-head with that offensive line for 4 quarters when Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are coming downhill? I don't think they want that. But having said that, again, let's look at the bigger picture here. Cleveland's still fighting for a playoff spot. You're also taking a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers in a couple minutes here playing the Colts. It's feasible the Colts go into Pittsburgh and win that game, which then sets up the Cleveland Browns for the division at home against the Steelers. Yep. This has the feeling to me, Kyle, is they went to the Meadowlands last week and played an inferior opponent and said, hey, look, we don't have to do much here. Let's just roll our helmets out and we'll win. And they did that to the Giants. I think you get that same type of approach. But now looking at the Jets with no pressure, can they hang around the 10? I think they can. I really think they can hang around the 10 here.
Yeah, I can't take the Browns as double-digit favorites against anybody. I simply can't. And because, as our boy Bobby Hooper in the chat box says, Baker Mayfield is a fraud, and I agree. Now, ever since I've gone on this
He's
fraud,
been playing great.
Oh, he's been playing out of his damn mind, and the schedule's been really beneficial to them as well. So it's been unfair because it's hard for me to call him a fraud every week and that they can't win when they're playing the damn Giants and Colt McCoy, and, now we get the Jets. Should Cleveland be able to do this? Absolutely. But I am not taking them as double-digit favorites on the road. Absolutely not. So I'll take some more pain this week. I'll pour myself a few shots of whiskey, and I'll have a little bit of fun here with the New York Jets. I'll take them to cover at home. Cleveland, we got to keep an eye on that secondary too. Make sure Denzel Ward's okay. And they're going to be, careful with him in practice throughout the week. There's no reason to go crazy here. Ronnie Harrison Jr., their starting safety, is not going to play this week. Unlikely to play with a shoulder injury. So he went on IR, it looks like. So they put him on injured reserve. So there you go.
Who are we talking about? Queen and Williams?
Yeah, Ronnie Harrison.
Yep. Ronnie Harrison's back. Yeah, he's back.
Oh, okay. So,
he's activated from the
okay. There we go. So that's a good thing for them. I still think the Jets can cover here. I can't take the Browns as double-digit favorites on the road. I cannot do it. So give me the pain. Give me the Jets.
It is a painful game. And how about the big line move here on the opening number, around 44 offshore as a total, now 47.5. Yeah. You get similar weather conditions to what you saw last week with the Cleveland Browns and the Jets game, that mid-30s, high 30s, low windy conditions. So I don't think that'll be that much of an issue. But it's kind of funny when you take a look and say, hey, maybe, the Jets aren't worried about tanking. They could call an official game because they're not going to get Trevor Lawrence. We'll see what happens in that game, but no reason to spend a lot. Double-digit line. It's not going to be what can the Jets win this game. It's going to be can the Jets cover late. We'll see if that happens. 463, 464. Cincinnati heading to Houston. Hey, Houston's not giving up. Say what you want about Romeo Crennel. They seem to lose. They have a horrible defense, but they have an all-world quarterback that seemingly can make offense out of nothing, and they're going to be asked to do it again this week. When you take a look, now you're down another offensive tackle for Houston. You already didn't have a great offensive line. It gets a little bit weaker. Cincinnati playing a little bit better on defense as the season has gone along. Now you're putting Houston, which so many times, Kyle, we're seeing Houston getting 7.5 points. Now they're laying 7.5 at home. But I have to tell, there's preferences of what we see and when your eyes play tricks on you. If you're looking at the box score and you go, damn, Cincinnati just beat Pittsburgh by 10. Now they're getting Houston. Houston stinks. They should be able to hang around this game. They didn't do anything on offense in that game, Cincinnati. They were gifted that victory. Now it doesn't matter who's on your defense. Deshaun Watson is going to be able to hang at least 350 total yards on your defense. That is an extremely tough number for me at 7.5. But I have to tell you, trying to find a pathway to victory here for Houston for me and their team total, I can see it getting there, but Cincinnati, again, so bad on offense. Yes, they got 27 points, but when you don't do much on offense and your total yardage is what you really look at as opposed to the final score, I think Houston can win this game, but it's hard to take them by 7.5. It's one of those games where I say, you know what? If Houston's going to win this game, they'll be up a touchdown at the half, maybe taking Houston first half in this one. But two really bad football teams, a 7.5-point line, eyes playing tricks on us. I'm not falling for it with Cincinnati, though. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, it's scary. And, hey, don't worry. Brandon Allen might be available to them if needed. They're going to stick with the Ryan Finley train, I think is what that means.
Tyler Boyd probably not going with the – now, look, that'd be hilarious in the NFL. Tyler Boyd smashed his head against the turf on Monday Night Football. Why would they run him back out here on a Sunday in a meaningless game? We'll see. But if he doesn't go, stink offense, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, man, I want to take Houston here so bad, but we're going to take the Houston Texans by double digits. Essentially, you need them to win by double digits here, by 10, sitting there at 7.5. I mean, you don't see very many 8, 9-point games. It's just not how that works. So, God, this game is ugly. I don't want to waste too much time on it. I would probably both defenses stink. I'd say Cincinnati's defense is actually a little bit better than Houston's. Houston's defense is so bad. At least the Bengals have William Jackson, who's at least a competent player in the Houston doesn't have a single competent player on the entire defense. I mean, it's just God awful. I think Romeo Crennel could lead the team in sacks if he decided to suit up and go out there because J.J. Watt is such a geezer out there. I know he had one little magical moment on Thanksgiving. Give me a break. If you just looking at the quarterbacks, you'd obviously want Watson in that offense for Houston, so I would expect him to get it done. Running away from this game, I like your approach. Take that first half touchdown lead and move on from it. Other than that, stay away from this game. And if I'm looking at the total 46, damn. I mean, I think I'll take the over because the defenses are so bad, and you tend to get extra possessions when you play Houston because they're so bad on third down. You know, you see Deshaun Watson having to spike it into the ground because they can't block anybody.
They can't.
What a dreadful game here. I guess I'm leaning the over, and guess Cincinnati to cover, but barely. I'll make Houston a part of a money line parlay. How's that?
You know, it's interesting here, too, because you take a look. I mean, let's go back about a month here. They scored 9 against Washington, 17 against the Giants, 7 against Miami, 7 against Dallas's defense, and they finally pop up with 27. But the funny part is, if you take a look at the Dallas game, Kyle, they actually had about 310 yards of total offense. Last week, 230. I mean, it's so hard to try to counterbalance that and say, hey, man, they're getting 7.5. And then you say, well, we're not worried about points. We're worried about, like, taking snaps and moving the ball forward because Mixon has a chance to come back out of practice, but he's already been ruled out for the game. You're not getting any reserves, and Boyd is your best wide receiver. You had 78 yards last week. Now he's out this week. So tough to take that game. And by the way, keep your comments to yourself out here because, as we like to say, there's 2 dads here on the show, but there is another dad in that chat box out there, so be on your P's and Q's out here with Kenny Kramer coming in here. And I think I know Kenny's first name that we've been told. So I believe that's not an imposter, Kyle, correct?
No, I think he's the original real deal. So you guys better be out there behaving yourself. I just realized as I'm looking down here, I make the stupid face when I'm typing. I can't help it. It looks like I'm constipated or something fantastic. Kelsey's our star. She'll be with us shortly, and we love her. So you guys better behave out there in the damn chat box, all right?
All right, let's keep moving here. 465, 466, Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. Good game here. Opens up originally before the game, before we watched Pittsburgh. Like, hey, Pittsburgh's going to pick up an easy victory on a Monday night. They were awful. Ben Roethlisberger was awful. They looked completely disinterested, almost the same, which was kind of odd to me because you had the game where they lost. Like, all right, you had your first game lost. Maybe you wake up. You had a tough spot to go into Buffalo. But I'm on Twitter and I'm saying to myself, like, and I'm typing in here, Big Ben looks completely disinterested and could care less in this game. They get wiped in that one after having a lead in the first half. Flip it over to Cincinnati. What's the mindset? We're like, well, Pittsburgh gets right here and rights the ship and heads toward the playoffs. Big Ben looked even worse than he did against Buffalo, and there's so many question marks, which you know me, being an idiot and I love pain, I dig into Pittsburgh. Like, how can I take a team total or take Pittsburgh? Well, they started it out as the favorite before that game was over against Cincinnati. By the time they reset the lines, Indianapolis opens up as a favorite. 465, 466, Phillip Rivers coming to town. That's a healthy football team. And I don't know what we're getting out of Pittsburgh, but they're having team meetings and they're trying to say, look, just because we're losing and we stink, we call it a team meeting. But we didn't call it the team meeting because we lose and we stink. No, it's exactly why you called the team meeting, because you're losing and stinking. Now you're getting a really good opponent here. Over-under opens at 45, Kyle, drops to 44.5. And I kind of agree with that. Pittsburgh doesn't do anything but throw the football. But however, 4 of the last 5 games for that Colts vaunted defense, you've been able to throw for 300-plus yards. But Big Ben looks broken, and it's not so much even his arm. Kyle, there was a couple plays on Monday night where he took the snap, did not even set his feet as if he was going to be a quarterback and take an extra 2 steps and have like a crow hop. He just threw the football. And I'm saying something has to be going wrong with the guy's knees where he doesn't even want to take a step to get more juice on the ball. Are we foolish to say, well, they can't lose 4 in a row and they're home and they call team meetings and riding the ship? You're getting a competent opponent here, and I'm going with the competent opponent. Steelers lose their 4th straight here.
Yeah, I mean, that is all 100% correct, and I agree and feel all that way, but I feel like this is a damn trap. This is the one that feels like a trap, right? Like everybody and they mama, as we like to say, are down on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and everyone loves the Colts, including us. We've been riding the Colts all year long. I mean, we've loved this Colts team all year long. So let me just play devil's advocate here because I'm scared of the trap. We like Phillip Rivers in a dome against a soft pass rush and a healthy offensive line. Now we're getting, Phillip Rivers outdoors, on the road, against a good pass rush. Let me double check. I don't think there's any real weather concerns. Actually, it looks like it's going to be beautiful there in Pittsburgh. 56 degrees and clear weather.
No. Yeah, hold on. Let me stop you there. I need to write a letter to the company you're looking at because they're calling that game from Tampa Bay. It's actually going to be 33 degrees at kickoff with 5-mile-an-hour winds. I know exactly where you're looking right now, and I almost fired before I pushed the button and said, wait a second. That doesn't seem right from what I've seen before, so be careful of that.
Okay, very good. Yeah, screw you, NFLweather.com. We'll just call them out right here.
That's it. Yep,
yeah. I usually like going there. Okay, so that is something to keep an eye on. So, again, those sort of conditions scare me. And when Phillip Rivers sees a pass rush, sort of those lame ducks that he throws up, Pittsburgh is good at taking advantage of those opportunities. I am very, very – look, the Colts are the smart play. There's no doubt about it. The Colts are the better team. If these two teams were meeting in the postseason and this wasn't, sort of this regular season thing, I would take the Colts, especially if it was in Indianapolis. But I am nervous about Rivers on the road and just everyone being down on the Steelers. So I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I'm going to be the contrarian. I think it's a trap, even though, I think they look absolutely terrible. Big Ben, like you said, looks terrified in the pocket. I mean, he just looks like a scared little boy in the pocket. It's weird to watch. His receivers can't catch the football. All signs point to the Colts. I feel like it's a trap. I'm going to take the Steelers.
Thursday show here, talking some NFL action on Christmas Eve. Thank you guys for tuning in. About 170 people watching live, and many, many more will watch back on the replay. Thank you for the thumbs up and coming in here in the chat box and leaving your mark. I look at that over-under, Kyle, 44 showing a Pinnacle offshore. It's crazy. Take a look at the Steelers here. Let me just bring up what this, because I had this, queued up here. The Steelers offense and what it's actually turned out to be is pretty miraculous, because going through the season, 26, 26, 28, 38, 38, 27, 28, 24, 36, 27. That's up till November. Walking up and down the field, Steelers are primed and ready to make a Super Bowl run. Their defense is legit. Then the faucet shuts off. 19 versus Baltimore, 17 versus Washington, 15 versus Buffalo, 17 versus Cincinnati. And I'm looking right now at Fox Bet here in New Jersey. They're over-under, Kyle, team total, 20.5 for the Steelers. And I'm ready to push the thunder button, oh my God. And then I take a step back and say, wait a second here. It's clear there's a downhill spiral on offense. And if you couldn't get right against Cincinnati, now you're telling me you're going to get right against Indianapolis, who, when your quarterback can't move, that's a pretty good pass rush and athletic secondary that you're going to have to try to defeat. It wasn't so easy to push that trigger to get the 20.5 now that I look at those numbers. But the overall at 44, I got to go over, because the Colts score. I don't care who the defense is. The Colts are going to score, and I think Pittsburgh wakes up. So I actually like the over in this game.
Yeah, I think that's right. 44.5 is low, and it doesn't seem to matter who the defense is that they're playing against. They're moving the football. Phillip Rivers, remember, we were sort of dogging on him early in the year, hey, man, he just doesn't look right. He has got it going. T.Y. Hilton's going. So I think you're right. I think the 44.5 is too low. And I know I sound crazy taking the Steelers. It just feels like a trap. Every intelligent thought that I have, every common sense thought that I have, so I could be over, tells me Indianapolis Colts. And I love the Colts.
By the way, we'll get to this game in a minute here, Kyle, but the update coming out, 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan tells the star George Kittle will make his return Saturday. Fire it up. Look at you out here ripping your team. And they're fighting for your glory out here, Kyle.
I don't understand it. No, they're trying to give me gray hair. He's going to get hurt. Look at every good player that we have has been nothing but hurt all year long. And now you want to run him out there in a meaningless game on a Saturday. Just keep him healthy for next year. Let's just lick our wounds and come back next year. God, the damn 49ers, man. I am praying that George Kittle stays healthy in that game.
By the way, personally, George, I think I owe you some Crown Royal, because personally, I'm so happy you're back for that game. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's go 467, 468. Break up the Chicago Bears. Our common theme here that we've talked about is Mitchell Trubisky playing well. And what is he doing, Kyle? Playing well against really bad defenses. Guess what? Jacksonville, the worst defense he's going up against. Now, you're not getting a bargain anymore because I've been on that gravy train with the Chicago Bears, including last week, where you're dialing up, Kyle, like 20.5s, 21s on the Bears. That's no longer be the case because they're 27.5s and 28s now as the team total. Oof. But I have to say, you're not getting any resistance out of Jacksonville. I had last week one of the highest team totals you're going to take, around 30, for the Baltimore Ravens against Jacksonville. Even with a first-drive interception by Lamar Jackson in the red zone, they went up and down the field. And last time I checked, not a great throwing game for Lamar Jackson overall with his wide receivers. You have some decent outlets, and Mitchell Trubisky is a very athletic quarterback, and they're calling plays where he uses legs to get out of the pocket and extend plays, and he's looked great. Montgomery has been sensational coming off of that concussion. You're looking at the Bears now. It gets a little nerve-wracking because whenever we line up and talk about the Bears like last week, hey, they're getting 3 points. I think they can cover that line because Mitchell Trubisky plays that underdog role well. Now you're asking him to go on the road and win basically by double digits in order to cash your ticket. The one thing I don't like here coming out of Jacksonville, which I don't think makes much sense, they're resting their running back. He's going to play on Sunday. But Gardner Minshew, it only gives you a fighting chance if he plays. And then we're back to the Doug Marrone. Well, we're going to go through the week and see who has the better practice week. Mm-hmm. They know the stakes now, Kyle. They're in the driver's seat to get a once-in-25-year player. Yep. You can't tell me we're going to take Jacksonville to hang around when you know damn well Shad Khan and that ownership is crunching that number. Hey, Doug, I love what you're doing here. And I think the signal already got sent. Gardner Minshew can steal us a game. Mike Glennon can't probably steal you this football game if he has to play well. I don't think I'm getting an honest effort out of Jacksonville now that we know what's on the table. I think the Bears can roll them down there.
Yeah, I made the mistake of thinking Jacksonville would fight back last week and make it look good. That was a bad one.
I had the team total, Kyle, but I'm with you. I thought Minshew would be able to run around against a damaged defense, and it was so ugly, man. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was bad. I mean, they've packed up their bags. They put the little, white handkerchief on the stick, and they're just taking their ball and going home. So as much as I despise the idea of taking Mitchell Trubisky as essentially a double digit, you need him to win by double digits on the road. Think about what the football gods have done to us this week. They are forcing me on live. I mean, this could come down, when my funeral happens in, hopefully like 100 years or something like that, when I'm 140 years old. And they're like, this guy was so dumb that he took Mitchell Trubisky as a 7.5-point favorite on the road.
Yeah.
But you have to in this one.
Yep, and we talked about it all year. Kyle. Like, don't take the Bears when they're favorites. And here we are loading up on a Christmas weekend.
Have to. We absolutely have to. Jacksonville will do nothing to win this game. I mean, if you saw them even remotely coming close, I think you would see Shad Khan come down from the owner's box and go last Boy Scout. Just boom, 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 just going Scarface on that roster. I'm sure it's like paintball or something. Okay, we're not talking about murder here. Relax.
We don't need strikes, Kyle.
Yeah, relax here. But no, you got to take the Bears here. Another game I'm absolutely staying away from. I don't trust shit in this game. Maybe I'd take the Bears in the first half, but you can't trust Jacksonville now at all whatsoever. And you make a great point. The offenses look better because David Montgomery is getting the ball, and he's starting to look like a really good young running back. He kind of was feeling like a butt. Now they're getting the ball. He's dominating. This defense is there to be had. Every position on Jacksonville's defense is bad. Secondary, linebacker, front four. It's all bad. All bad. You got to take the Bears here. Jacksonville is dead.
Yeah, after coming back from the concussion, Kyle, 6.1 yards per carry for David Montgomery. And that's not like, that's through 10 carries. That's over 70 carries. And you watch him. He is so elusive and so tough to tackle. Not elusive as if he was, a punt returner, Devin Hester, but just making the first guy miss in the hole. And as soon as he gets tackled, it's a 3-yard gain. It turns into a 5-yard gain, and those yards pile up. I do like them in that football game. Let's keep moving here as we go. Taking a look at the next game, which has a lot to do with my Philadelphia Eagles, the Carolina Panthers going on the road to take on the Washington football team. A lot of upheaval. And you have an older quarterback that we joke around with, Alex Smith, who isn't very good to begin with. He's going to have a tough time getting to the starting line on Sunday because when you're old and a calf injury and when you're throwing a football in your plant foot, that can go at any time. He's not practicing that much this week, more off to the side. Hey, we'll give it a go on Sunday. I have to tell you, it's such a wild world we live in. They are actually better if they start Dwayne Haskins in this football game than if he plays. Because if you have a guy that already has no legs, now you take away any semblance of movement from him in the pocket, when you know all he wants to do is check it down. Dwayne Haskins is a bad quarterback, but at least he throws the ball over 3 yards down the field. Terry McLaurin hasn't practiced yet this week. That is their best offensive weapon. Antonio Gibson, he's trying to fight to come back, but you're talking about a running back built on explosiveness with turf toe, which is basically your big toe on your foot hurts so bad you can barely touch the floor with it, but he's going to go out there and dominate still. I don't think that's going to be the case. Now, flipping it over to the Carolina side here as we take a look at 50-50 ticket split. Now we're seeing some money come back, and the -1s are out there. Even -1s now in the favor of the Carolina Panthers. But Burns isn't going to make it this weekend. Your best defensive lineman, Christian McCaffrey, who I don't know what they're doing with it. Just put him on IR so you don't have to mess with him each week in practice. I can't understand. Like, your most prized possession has a bum leg, and it's like, well, we're going to run him out there at practice and might be again. Just shut the guy down. You're out of the playoffs. But now it brings up, if Washington, who probably needs to win this game, or else if the Eagles go down to beat the Dallas Cowboys, you set up that Sunday showdown next week in Philadelphia for the division. I don't know if they can win this game, but Carolina's giving them every out here by saying, hey, we're shutting down our best defensive players and our best offensive players. I think Carolina is a better football team than the Washington football team coming in the way the injuries are stacking up. I'm not surprised. In the pick six contest, I already went Carolina here.
Wow, in the pick six, I like Carolina as well. Look, especially if Terry McLaurin's not going to give it a go. So now you're going to play a hobbled Alex Smith. The big week, Carolina's, they've been bad against the run, but really where it's been regressing is their secondary has absolutely fallen apart. Yep. But how's Washington going to take advantage of it? What are you going to throw to Cam Sims? And, I guess Logan Thomas has been effective as a tight end. J.D. McKissick's going to torch you out of the – no, Carolina – all their, I'm looking here, just making sure their offensive weapons are going to play. So minus Christian McCaffrey, you're still going to have, Mike Davis, who's been competent, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, Teddy Bridgewater's exponentially better than any quarterback on the roster for Washington. So I don't think Washington can put up many points no matter what defense they play against. I mean, they put up 15 against Seattle, for Christ's sake. I mean, Seattle's defense is terrible too. Carolina should be able to outscore Washington. I'm with you. I like the Carolina Panthers. And I made this part of one of my money line parlays because I got a little bit of juice there. The points are there. So you get a little bit of juice there, adds up to it, it increases your odds there on those parlays because I'm going to hit a huge win this week so I don't have to go to the unemployment line here in about 4 weeks. So, no, I'm with you. I like the Carolina Panthers. Just too many injuries. No Terry McLaurin for Washington as it looks right now, even if he's hobbled. That is a big weapon for them against a bad secondary. If they don't have him, I don't know who the hell Alex Smith goes to. So I'll take the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, it's what it comes down because Carolina put up a pretty good effort last week against the Green Bay Packers and held them down. And now, look, if McLaurin doesn't get to the starting gate in this game, you don't have Alex Smith. And Antonio Gibson is on barely his normal self when he was dominating a couple weeks back. They don't do very much. So if you put a number on Washington, even going against Carolina's defense, what's a lot of points for Washington here? 17? Carolina should be able to get into the 20s here. That's why I'm going in that direction. And that could change once we get to Sunday. If McLaurin is healthy and Antonio Gibson is really running well, you'll know right away. But they are in a disaster position at quarterback. And I have to say this as one of these, when you look at the NFL and what they do right and wrong, the simple fact that they're letting the Washington football team skate on this coronavirus protocol is amazing to me because you told the Denver Broncos, we don't care what you got going on. You might have to put a coach at quarterback, but no, we're going to start a rookie, unactivated wide receiver at quarterback. But yet Dwayne Haskins, I don't care. Oh, but it wasn't a strip club. He brought the strip club to his apartment, which is hilarious to me where you're hiring strippers for your girlfriend's party anyway. But they let him skate on that. Kyle, he didn't even have the protocols because the thing that was wrong in Denver is they went to the facility on a Tuesday, didn't wear masks as they were already being tested every day in their own facility. And they said, you can't even be on campus. We'll see you on Monday. But yet Dwayne Haskins was able to practice with the football team all week long and possibly in line to start. Let me get a quick thought on that. I don't understand what the NFL is doing here.
It's nonsense, and it really does. Like, when you look at the Denver Broncos after the passing of Pat Bowlen, they don't have a real owner, right?
No.
Then you look at the NFL. Dan Snyder, super rich, just a god-awful owner, but he's got the ear of Roger Goodell. Biscotti for Baltimore, he's got the ear of the commissioner there. So it does really, I don't know this for sure, but it really feels like there's some favorites here and some double standards here because it's absolutely ridiculous that They forced the Broncos to play that game. I mean, that was a complete joke. And now we're seeing them bend over backwards and change the rules for teams like Washington and Baltimore. I guess money talks in the NFL. Denver needs to go ahead and find themselves an owner so they can be treated like the rest of the league. I think it's an absolute joke. And it's what gives the NFL sort of a bad name. They're like, hey, what's the actual policy? Because it seems like the policy changes based on who the owner of the team is and what city you play in. I think it's an absolute joke. I don't understand it. Shame on Dwayne Haskins. I mean, look, if I was that young, I'd be doing that same stuff too. But you're trying to get paid millions of dollars to be an NFL quarterback. This is exactly why he will be released and be a backup next year and forever be remembered as a first-round bust. Because it's a bad move by him, but the NFL's letting him get away with it. Congratulations.
And you're right. And here's the interesting part that I always bring up because they talk about like the culture change now, right? Well, Daniel Snyder's still getting sued left and right, and we're uncovering more lawsuits by the day. But Ron Rivera is going to put a culture in place. Let me ask you about this culture. Midway through the season, you told Dwayne Haskins, A, you're a horrible quarterback. B, you're a horrible teammate. Stay away from the team for a couple weeks. We don't need you. Why? Because Kyle Allen is there, and also you had a backup quarterback in Alex Smith. Fast forward to now. Kyle Allen is out for the season. Maybe starting this week, and Alex Smith doesn't look like he's going to play. Isn't it amazing how your culture changes and how you believe in somebody because he is your only option? Let me ask you a question on top of that, Kyle, real quick. If this same scenario went on where Alex Smith was healthy and also Kyle Allen was healthy, is Dwayne Haskins on the street right now? And there's a statement from Washington going, our culture has changed. He's not a part of it. We don't believe in him any longer. Good luck to him. No?
Yeah, he'd be gone. He'd absolutely be gone off the street. There's no conviction to any principle here. And then, the only statement you're getting from Dan Snyder is, hey, a minority owner is trying to sabotage me. No, dude, you're a piece of garbage human being. You always have been. Knock it the hell off. You don't believe in anything. Only thing you care about is money and flashy moves. Yep. You've been a disaster of an owner. You're a disaster of a person. Get the hell out of here. And Dwayne Haskins is lucky that they're in this spot because he is a dumpster fire of a quarterback as well. And clearly not an intelligent young man making stupid decisions.
Bang it. Yeah, Sebastian Cornwell agrees with us here. It's always nice to bash the Washington football team anytime we can get it there. 471, 472. We'll keep it in the NFC East, and I'm going to keep it quick here. Baltimore detonates the Giants. End of story. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yep. I'm right there with you. We don't have to. What do we got? Oh, yeah. We just need to race through this. Giants, no shot. I don't care who plays in this game, which is funny. A few weeks back, we were all liking the Giants and, a little bit down on Baltimore's defense. Right. But no. At home, Baltimore needs this game. This is a absolute must-win for Baltimore. They should get it done here. I'm not putting any of my money on it because I'm not big on the double-digit favorites unless I'm taking the underdog. No reason for me to take the Giants this week. I'll take Baltimore.
Baltimore is on the gas pedal right now. And you're looking at that line, 10.5, 11 across the board, and over-under of only 43.5. And it's only 43.5, not because of the Ravens, because the Giants are the and this coming from a guy who looks at the Washington football team offense and laughs. I get a huge belly laugh, like Artie Lang style, when I take a look here at that Giants offense. Watch how inept they are on offense. But, the clapper, Jason Garrett, will be calling the plays again this week. So that'll clear everything up. Let's keep moving here. Yeah, we'll keep moving here. 473, 474, Atlanta and Kansas City. 10.5-point line. Atlanta's done and cooked, not able to play for the postseason. Kansas City looking to lock up that number one seed, and that makes a difference. I see Tyreek Hill got back to practice, been struggling with that hamstring injury. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's not going to play in this game. Out a couple weeks, they're hoping to get him back for the playoffs. Atlanta has been sneaky tough, playing decent football as we go along. They should have won last week. Yeah, they blew the game, but you know what? They covered the football game. And I look at this game heading into play Kansas City. Kansas City, I believe, will be on it in the first half. I think Kansas City is going to be up by at least a touchdown. That energy, let's go out and close it out. But I think Atlanta hangs around and plays tough. Do I think they're going to get a start out of Julio Jones, who for the millionth time is going to be a game-time decision? Probably not. But I do think they're game in this one, and it's so hard to go against Kansas City. But really, is it when you're dealing with a point spread?
No, that's the problem. They don't seem to be able to cover a spread no matter how low it is. There's no way I'm trusting them at 10.5. I'm just not doing it because once they get a comfortable lead and know there's no shot they're going to lose the game, they just take their foot off the gas. And now you see Clyde Edwards-Helaire get hurt last week in another game where that happened. They're going to be a little bit cautious. Look, this is basically a non-important game for Kansas City. They don't have to win this game. They can win again next week and lock up the number one seed in the conference. They essentially have it now. This is basically a meaningless Week 16 game for them. So I got Atlanta to cover here. And I also like the under in this game. I don't trust Atlanta's offense to put up a ton of points, and I don't think Kansas City puts their foot on the gas, even though it's a bad Atlanta secondary. So I'm going to take the under with a hobbled Tyreek Hill, no Clyde Edwards-Helaire, possibly no Julio, probably no Julio Jones, at least a limited Julio Jones for Atlanta. So I'm going to take the under 54 and the Falcons to cover.
And by the way, somebody brings up in the chat box here, the Ravens game, 31-17 Ravens. The team total for the New York Giants is 16.5, so almost at the ridiculous pain tolerance level that we usually like. But even having said that, man, yeah, we'll have to pick that one up on Sunday. But let's keep going here. Maybe one of the games of the day, if not the game of the day, specifically out there in the NFC West, 475, 476. That is the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Look at this line, opens up 2.5 offshore at SBRodds.com in favor of the Seattle Seahawks. Now we're seeing ones across the board. And I got to tell you, Kyle, I don't agree with that. Over-under in this game opened up at 46.5, now sits at 47.5. I love the under in this game. I'm an over guy through and through. But when I look at the way these two teams match up, the defense, we always talk about how bad Seattle's defense is. But if you look at the statistics now over the last month as they've gotten healthier, that's a much better football team. We also look at the one kryptonite when we see Seattle. If you can collapse that offensive line up the middle with a shorter quarterback like Russell Wilson is, will he make plays out of the pocket? Sure, he always does. But this defense seems to give him fits. I think we see some ground and pound. And also from the Los Angeles side, you look at Jared Goff. He can't throw you to victory. You know who was explosive in that backfield? A resurgence, a young rookie looking like he's ready to take the reins heading toward the playoffs. Cam Akers, he's out this week. So now you're back to the drawing board. It's a finesse offense for the Rams. I think Seattle's defense can hold up. A, I like Seattle to win this game. And B, I like it to stay under the total. 24-20 seems good to me in this one. Seattle wins it.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all. The Rams defense actually has sort of been kryptonite for Russell Wilson. I don't think he's gotten over 22 fantasy points his last 5 games, or it got right there one time. So it is a tough matchup for him because Aaron Donald gives him fits. Of course, probably the best secondary in the league out there with the Rams, Williams and Hill, and of course Jalen Ramsey. I've gone back and forth on this. I'm going to, anytime I get Russell Wilson under a field goal, I'm going to take Russell Wilson, even especially at home, even if there are no fans in the stands. I don't trust Jared Goff. I trust Russell Wilson more. It's a short line. You can go. You're not crazy for taking the Rams here. I think up and down. If you look at them as, a fully balanced team. Yeah. I think the Rams are a better team. But I'm going to take Seattle. Yeah, I'm taking Seattle. If I get Russell Wilson at home with essentially a pick 'em here, I'm gonna take Russell Wilson in that. I think they win this football game, and I'm with you. I think it goes under. A 24-20 makes a lot of sense. 2017 wouldn't shock me either. I like Seattle this week.
I just don't see the explosiveness from the Rams. And again, Jared Goff's going to have to play really well to win that game. And he's always that downfall. When I look at the Rams and I just say, boy, if they ever got a legitimate quarterback, it's almost, Kyle, the same way I look at San Francisco. Because if San Francisco was healthy, they'd probably be in the same boat with the Rams this year saying, damn, why can't we just get a quarterback to keep us, on the up and up at this time? 477, 478, my Philadelphia Eagles holding on by the skin of their teeth to try to stay in this playoff race. For what reason? I have no idea, but they're still going to play hard. That's what they do under Doug Peterson. And you're trying to find out what you have with Jalen Hurts. He should be able to move the football this weekend. There's no question about it. And I'm going to stick to my guns like I had it earlier in the week. It's just so funny because I would feel even better as a line guy looking at it like, boy, I feel really good about the Eagles. They're actually favored, which is kind of crazy. But I would like the Eagles getting like a +3 in this spot, but obviously it opens up as a short favorite at SBR odds at -1 for the Dallas Cowboys. Flips over to the Eagles, the 1.5s, the 2s. Now we're seeing the 2.5s out here. I know there's a lot of belief. Boy, we like the way Jalen Hurts played. I get all that. But we're still talking about the Philadelphia Eagles where winning is not so easy. You're still on the road. You're still going to have to come to play. But the one thing that the Eagles do really well is rush the quarterback. You know what stinks this week? Josh Sweat goes down with a wrist injury, probably out for the rest of the season. You still have 4 formidable guys on the front to get that pressure. But he was that sort of X factor, like that mini Jadeveon Clowney that could be just super athletic and beat a bad tackle, which 2 tackles are bad for the Dallas Cowboys. Zeke should play this week, but as we said last week, if he doesn't, it's not a big deal. Pollard can carry the load, if not better than what Zeke Elliott is doing at this time. Have a couple banged up injuries on defense for Dallas. Slay will be back in the secondary for the Eagles, so at least you will have some resistance. And the key to this game, which is what we just talked about, to me, the front 4 of the Philadelphia Eagles getting pressure against a bad offensive line. The one thing we know, Kyler Murray, Taysom Hill, you rush them, they can get out of the way. Andy Dalton isn't going anywhere. I still think the Eagles can get this done here. Nervous about taking them as a favorite. Boy, we wouldn't like them much, much better as a dog. I thought they would lose last week and not cover. They didn't. But if they're going to win the football game, obviously they have to cover. I'm going with that. And I'm sort of shady here, Kyle, on the over-under, 49.5. Shouldn't we get points in this game? But sometimes I just got to revert back to like, Andy Dalton can't get out of the way at the pocket. The Eagles are crushing it. And, hey, you knew Jalen Hurts going to have a bad game sometime out here. That still sticks in my mind. Rookie quarterback on the road in a big division game has to get a win, and I'm going with it. So much against what I really believe in. Crazy.
I mean, you literally took all the words out of my mouth. I actually like Jalen Hurts a lot this week because he's going to use his legs. What's the one? I mean, Dallas's defense is bad top to bottom, but literally they allow the most rushing yards in the NFL per game. I think Jalen Hurts gives them a ton of problems this week. I'm taking the Eagles as road favorites as well. Does it scare me to death? Absolutely. Man. But you know what gives me some comfort? I'm going to have one of the best pass rushes in the league against Andy Dalton. It's an important game to keep their playoff hopes alive. Jerry Jones is going to be watching with all the fervor a 950-year-old vampire, Dracula-looking inhumane piece of whatever the hell he is watching from the box. Andy Dalton's going to be nervous. That pass rush is going to get after it. So now I get Andy Dalton in a big game, coached by, Mr. Short Bus himself, Mike McCarthy. I like what Jalen Hurts is doing over there. Am I worried about the receivers getting open? Sure, I am. That Philly secondary sucks. I mean, let's just, we could we don't have to wrap it up and put it in a bow. They stink. It's good to have Darius Slay, but too many holes for Dallas. Bad head coach, immobile quarterback. He gets crushed. Give me Jalen Hurts. Give me the Eagles. They cover this week.
Yeah, definitely. I'm rooting for it. Actually, I don't even know if I'm rooting for it, which is so crazy. Like, he's a fan. Like, yeah, let's get in the playoffs. I'm like, well, why would we do that? So it leaves a lot in the air. And by the way, looking at the chat box here, there's a guy in here with the name Dash, with just a dash. Please put a name. I don't even care if you spell the name
what the
Dash
hell is that?
And put it next to it. That way I can read your comment as opposed to like Dash says, 2420 out here. So put a name in there and we can shout you out quite a bit here. Let's keep going. And how about this game? Night game, cold weather in Green Bay. A couple hundred fans there shouldn't make a difference. That Tennessee offense is rolling into overtime right now, getting ready for the playoffs. And we joke, or at least I joked on Tuesday, that's the Monstars, man. If you took a cartoon book and made an offense and what their players are supposed to look at, jacked, fast, big, it's the Tennessee offense. Now, what are you going to get from a counter from Green Bay? We know they don't care about the cold. Aaron Rodgers is going to dominate regardless, but sometimes they do fall a little bit into lulls. Can we believe that Tennessee is going to go in and knock off the Green Bay Packers, getting about 3.5? And I look at that as a demarcation line. 3.5, give me that hook. I'm interested in Tennessee in this game. I think they give them hell, but I can't tell if this is my head or my heart betting with, because I love to hate on the Green Bay Packers, and I just see Tennessee come to town, but I don't want to be like, dude, Kyle, we knew Tennessee's defense stinks. They can't even force Green Bay to punt in this game, but something tells me Mike Vrabel and the boys in that cold weather, giving it to King Henry, it seems like one of those playoff game setups where we saw them go into Baltimore, like in the playoffs, or even play New England. They shouldn't win that game. But you're handing off to Henry, and he's ripping off chunk after chunk, and they're doing whatever they want. I have that same feeling in this game. I'm going with Tennessee, even though it might be a hate wager against Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay's soft. They're one of the softest teams. They're poorly coached. Cram it in your cram hole of floor. I say every time I see the Green Bay Packers, I absolutely cannot stand Matt LaFleur. One of the best things that might happen is Jamal Williams missing this game. Aaron Jones is dealing with a toe issue as well, but Green Bay can't stop the run. And now I'm looking at, I'm still on that same weather site here, so I don't know if I can even trust it.
That's right. The only one that was wrong was the game that's in Pittsburgh, which they're saying is going to be played at Raymond James. So,
okay. So we might even get snow in this game, right? Yeah. Snow game, weak, soft, scared, pathetic rushing defense for those boys in Wisconsin. Give me the Tennessee Titans. Look, if this was a clear weather game and Aaron Rodgers was just going to be able to throw on this dreadful, pathetic Tennessee secondary, absolutely sign me up. Now in the snow, 29 degrees, a little bit of wind, I'll take Derrick Henry and the boys. I think the Tennessee Titans are the best offense, like complete offense in the league right now. I know besides outside of Kansas City, of course, but I mean, Tennessee can do everything well. Green Bay are frauds. I also like the under 56. If there's going to be snow and all that, give me that under 56. That feels like a free square there. I think the Titans go in there, physically dominate the soft Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers get knocked down to reality a little bit. Give me the Titans. I'm not a believer in Green Bay at all whatsoever.
Mr. Portugal checking in from actual Portugal today, and he's loving the Christmas sweaters. Hey, look, we're all about the people out here. We are giving off that festive vibe, getting after it here. And yes, you're right about that. 56 is a lot of points to actually deal with here. And Jalen Robinson says the Browns clinching next week. You know what? I actually think they do. I do, because I think they lose this week, and I think the Cleveland Browns can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers last game of the season. That's going to tell me a lot about how they played this Sunday, so we'll see how that pops off. Because, again, Browns might still be playing. I don't know. I guess the Browns could clinch with a win this week for the playoffs, but they're going to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers the following week if the Steelers, get off the schneid and don't have to worry about that game as an actual division game. Last game we'll talk about here, Monday Night Football, before we bring in Kelsey, talk some pick six action, see what she's up to at Christmas. 481, 482, Buffalo and New England. Exacting revenge, moving the needle. New England, you're going to be behind us from years to come. Get used to this butt kicking in your own building on Monday night. They keep saying the same thing. Cam's our quarterback. We're getting ready for Buffalo. We have 2 games left. This is a different mindset Buffalo team. This Buffalo team's not going into New England like, hey, I hope we can compete. Can we get close to them? They're going in to exact a pound of flesh. Yeah, they barely beat them the first time. Cam Newton actually fumbled in the red zone with a chance to either A, tie the game and go to overtime, or actually win the football game. These two teams are in different directions right now. You're looking at an offense that can't do anything in New England. Are you kidding me? Looks like Stephon Diggs will be healthy and ready. John Brown is practicing. That offense is high octane. No more Stephon Gilmore to at least slow down Stephon Diggs or some of those wide receivers. Buffalo is going to win this football game. 7 in division sometimes gives you a little bit of a sniff there. I still think Buffalo gets that done, but I'm more important on that first half. Buffalo will be up a touchdown at the half. They're going to exact revenge. That's the way I like it. What are you thinking here on Monday Night Football, Kyle?
Oh, yeah. As soon as I saw that Stephon Gilmore was out as well, I was like, put it forward. That's the only competent player they have on that entire damn football team. This will be our last Monday night game of the year, as a matter of fact. I don't believe they do Monday nights on week 17, so this will be our last Monday night. We're going to hit some prop bets there. We're going to dunk on Flash and his Patriots during that entire show. It's going to be an absolute blast as we just bash his Patriots. I love to do that every time we're on the show. Buffalo gets it done easy. Cam Newton stinks. That entire team stinks. They're slow. Buffalo should beat the brakes off of New England. Give me the Bills.
No, I agree with you there. I do. And that's the Week 16 card. But let's have some fun here. It's Christmas. You know what we do now. Go to the first slate of football, bring her in, go over some pick six picks, see what she's up to on Christmas Eve. Kelsey, welcome into the show, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Guys, Merry Christmas. I didn't get the ugly sweater memo. I don't have a mom to get one, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, I took it from my mommy. It's tight fitting and it looks great,
I have
my wife put this on me, sure.
Yeah,
I said you're going to wear this so nobody ever looks at you again. So that's the way I'm rocking this sweater out. And I'm enjoying. I even got some plaid pajama pants on right now. So I'm ready to kick it, and we're going to have some fun today. By the way, Christmas Eve plans for you, Kelsey? We staying home? We going out? Like, what's the deal out there in Arizona?
We're going out.
Going out.
Should we have asked, Kyle? Should we even have asked, right?
Yeah, sure. So which kicker are we going out with this week? What the hell's going on?
Definitely looking for my husband tonight. We'll see if I find him.
Wow.
But guys, looking back at last week, obviously getting past that before y'all say some atrocious comment. Looking back at last week, I am at number 19 in week 15.
Ooh.
And you know who killed me? The Cardinals.
Oh,
yep.
I win it.
You can't get them right, huh?
That's what you get for dunking on that kicker.
What are you overall? What are you overall in the pick six contest?
300. I know
that's
Donnie
not bad.
Up there.
No, Kyle's ahead of us all, so I wasn't going to mention it, but I guess I have to now.
Boom, 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 boom. Number 69 overall. That's right, boys and girls.
Fitting.
How fitting, right? Yes, I mean, obviously,
Kyle hasn't seen that number in a long time.
Sad but true.
Bring in the heat.
Anyway.
Heat in the kitchen. And by the way, we had an appearance here in our chat box about 45 minutes ago from a guy named Kenny Kramer that said, yes, I do have guns.
He threatens with guns. He said you're his favorite too. So we got everyone behaving themselves out in chat box today. We love Kenny Kramer. Watch out, boys. She's got guns.
Let's get after it here. Vikings Saints on Christmas Day down in the Dome. Drew Brees not looking all that well last week. Brought him back for a late touchdown. And as we know, nobody gets the football back from the Kansas City Chiefs, so they lose that one. But an easier opponent coming into the Dome this week. Are we looking for a little Minnesota miracle on Christmas Day? Or are we going with those New Orleans Saints here?
I'm going with the Saints here. Their defense has enough weapons their offense has enough weapons to get through this Vikings defense. Donnie, why do you keep laughing? I hate when
Kenny's back in here. Say hello to us, Ken. Yeah, it's bow time in here.
He's just laughing at your picks. He's dogging you. Get him. Attack. Go.
Okay. Well, and their defense at they're number 2 right now.
Yeah. Can
stop Dalvin Cook, and that's about all the Vikings have on them. So I'm taking the Saints -7.
I can't fault it because we and Kyle talked earlier. I mean, you're talking about a Minnesota defense that's really poor and now really injured at linebacker. So the Saints should be able to do whatever they want in the running game in that one. And again, also a short week, Christmas Day. They're not going to make the playoffs, and they want to go travel to New Orleans and back. They're just looking to get home. So I agree with that play. I think they should be able to win. We'll see if they can win it by double digits for you to get that cover. Moving on and keeping it on this short holiday weekend here, Saturday afternoon action between the Bucs and the Lions. One team needs a lot to play for. One team, I don't even know. It's like the school's out. Like the substitute teacher is in where the quarterback's calling his own plays. They're drawing stuff up. Who are we looking at this? Matthew Stafford's last stand? Or is Tampa Bay blowing them away?
I like Tampa. I wouldn't have if Stafford didn't get hurt, but he's still pretty banged up. And Kenny Golladay won't be back. So I see the Bucs rolling through them and will get their first playoff berth since 2007.
Look at that, partying down in Tampa Bay. Do you agree here, Kyle? Bucs going in there just manhandling those Detroit Lions with nobody who's coaching them whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, it would be really surprising if they didn't. It'd be a huge indictment on Tom Brady if that didn't happen. They need to get things right. There's one defense. There's a few defenses, but one defense that it's very, very possible to get things right against is a terrible secondary Detroit and one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. Of course, Kenny Golladay, I wish I could send him hate mail. I hate Kenny Golladay. Destroyed my fantasy team this year. Didn't play for weeks. Just go on the IR so I can drop you already. Screw Kenny Golladay. Screw the damn Detroit Lions. Let's go Tampa. I agree with Kelsey.
That's all right. You can sit back on Saturday and watch George Kittle go out there and dominate, and then I'll retweet your video left and right with the Arizona game. So we can always play those games out here. How about this one? The Dolphins, one of the toughest teams for me to get a visual of what I like because banged up at wide receiver, banged up at tight end, maybe getting Myles Gaskins back, rookie quarterback going on the road, playoff pressure, must-win situation. But I can't find myself, I can't doubt them anymore. Brian Flores is the truth here. Now, they're headed out to the Dome to play Las Vegas, who's injured and basically out of it at this point. Are we trusting the Miami Dolphins, or the Raiders going to jump up here with possibly Marcus Mariota starting here, Kelsey?
No, Marcus Mariota gives me nightmares. I have a story for that one. But I like Miami. I've liked Miami this entire season. Tua dominated last week. He became the 8th rookie quarterback to beat Belichick, which I can't stand New England at all. I can't stand the accents. So if you have an accent, don't come talk to me. I'm just
love that.
Everything New England just makes me sick. So that was cool. And Marcus Mariota, he had an okay performance when he stepped in, but that last interception, I'm not digging that one in the red zone. So Miami. And I thought they were supposed to get some of their offensive weapons back, like Mike Gesicki.
He should play. It's a shoulder issue.
I think he plays.
So he should be fine there. He should be fine there. And I completely agree. There's very few sports fans who are worse than Boston sports fans. Oh my God, they're absolutely terrible. Ask anybody who's even played for the teams. They don't even like playing. They're like, God, get me the hell out of here so I don't get shot from some psychopath in the stands. So you're absolutely right. Boston fans, the absolute worst. Get the hell out of here. And I agree. I like the Dolphins this week.
All right, let's keep it moving here. So I'm done downing the Dolphins. So I think they're going to win that football game. Yeah. So I do think they'll be able to cover the 3 in that one. Bears as a favorite heading down to Jacksonville. Something I never thought I'd be interested in, and we would laugh. And Mitchell Trubisky laying points. Are you kidding me? Now he's laying 7.5, which means theoretically you're probably going to have to get a win by double digits. But again, against a team that if you're a Jacksonville, I know there's got to be at least one Jacksonville Jaguar fan that's extremely happy that it looks like Trevor Lawrence is coming to town. But I got to tell you, Jacksonville fans, get used to it. He'll play for you for a year, then they're going to be over in Britain, and you don't have a team at all. So enjoy him while you got him. Now, are you looking at the Bears rolling over the Jaguars now that they know Trevor Lawrence is in their sights? Or do you think Gardner Minshew can steal this one and say, Sam, this is going to be, you ain't coming down here because it's going to go play up with Sam Darnold and say, hey, bounce him back out there, because quarterbacks are playing for their jobs, knowing if they lose their job too. Who are we going with here?
I like the Bears. I like Trubisky the past few weeks, and their defense balances them out well. James Robinson is most likely, I don't know if he'll be sidelined, or if he plays, he's going to be still hurting. It's hard to get over that ankle injury, as we saw with Falcons. Everyone on the Falcons squad had ankle injuries this season, unless that was an excuse. So the Jags are going to have to look to their passing attack, which is the worst, and I don't know how you can take the Jags. I like the Bears.
No, and I'm gonna, as crazy as it is, laying the Bears 7.5. Not like, hey, Kyle, look, they're laying 3. Can they get it done? No, they got to win by a wide margin. But the way they're playing on offense and feasting on bad defenses, I think you agree with this here.
Yeah, I do. And I mean, laying 7.5, there's jokes for that. But yeah, no, I like the Bears here. It was very vague. No, I like the Bears here. It's weird taking Trubisky as a favorite, but yeah, Jacksonville is dead. And James Robinson should play. It looks like they're resting him during practice, so we'll see how much they play him. Dumpster fire, no desire to win. Got to take the Bears.
Gerald Jones says, happy holidays, Cappers. And also Scott P says, Buffalo doesn't lose another game until next season. Look, man, my 2 futures I have, which finally is one on Buffalo and one in Kansas City. And I don't think I can lose both of those there heading into the Super Bowl. So hopefully we'll be able to pick up a W there. The Giants and the Ravens. This is the shortest cap that we had here, Kelsey, on the show, where I simply said, Giants going to get busted up in this one. Are you looking towards the underdog Giants fighting hard for high school Joe Judge? Or is this Lamar Jackson saying, man, get out of town. We're rolling the squad.
I don't see it. The Ravens are on a roll. They're getting their defensive weapons back this weekend, and they're probably playing against Colt McCoy, which I'd rather play kicker in that spot.
Of course you would. Of course you would.
I see Lamar Jackson go to the bathroom again and coming back out and rolling through them.
Yep.
Yeah, hey, I think he can take off a half and still roll through them in this. By the way, life-changing dough says, Kelsey Kramer, are you married? So these are the questions that we want. A lot of people get engaged on Christmas Eve, by the way.
Oh, here we go.
I don't think I'll ever see that. No, I'm not married. I'm so far from married.
Well, Zane Gonzalez is pushing, but he made some mistakes and got a broken leg and that's
maybe we'll reconsider if they make the playoffs. Only winners in this house over here. So
that's right. That's right.
Here. By the way, last game we'll talk about here, the Panthers and the Washington football team. A lot going on in this game. Washington trying to hold on for dear life to win the NFC East. And again, the question is, why would they even want to win it? What's the point of doing it? But somebody actually has to win it. They are at home in command, but this line has actually changed here. You know, a little bit of an underdog here for Carolina, 1.5 to 2. Some outlets here now, Kelsey, showing the favorite actually being the Panthers. Are you believing in the football team, or do you think Matt Rule can go in there with Teddy Bridgewater and pull out a victory here?
We are in week 15, and the football team still doesn't have a real name. Can't stand it. Ron Rivera won't. I don't think he's going to be looking for revenge here. I mean, he doesn't have anything to do that for, and Dwayne Haskins will probably be at another strip club, leaving them without a QB unless Alex Smith somehow shows up. Anyways, I like the Panthers to cover this one. I had them even when they were at +2, and their defense looked hella good last week against the Packers, spoiling Washington's playoffs hopes, Carolina.
By the way, Washington doesn't have a name. Would you be okay if they went with the Washington Chanticleers? Would that be okay?
Anything is better than the football team. But I can't see my Chanticleers being maroon. So.
Ooh.
And also, by the way, Life Changing Dough says, Kelsey, can you email me? So, yeah, look, what is it? Lifechangingdough at gmail.com. She's going to email you on Christmas Eve, and it'll be a wonderful story we'll tell in the future here.
It's like the holiday. That's romantic.
Oh boy,
it is romantic. I'm going to hit the Crown Royal coming up. I mean, drink of choice tonight. I mean, it's Christmas Eve. Like, we're going to have something here. I got a nice little Crown Royal. I usually drink the vanilla. That's my drink of choice. You know, huge glass, but I do put in a little bit of water in there with it, giant ice cube. And tonight it's going to be salted caramel for me tonight. Ooh. That's what I'm going with. Kyle, what are you going with tonight? Like, what's beer?
I'm going to go with some Buffalo Trace and a little bit of ginger ale. Buffalo Trace and
Buffalo
ginger
Trace,
ale.
Is that like math?
It's a fantastic whiskey. I recommend you all try it. If you don't have that, you can always go to a Jameson as well. But yeah, tonight, Buffalo Trace, a little bit of ginger ale and maybe a few shots, some eggnog, some throwing up at 1 o'clock.
Gosh.
Christmas morning.
Jesus.
No, I won't be up that late. I'll be in bed by 9:30. We're basically my two dads on here. We're old enough, we're Kelsey's dad's age on here, as we found out on Twitter last week, which there's nothing wrong with. Kenny Kramer, you're a beautiful and younger man. I don't know why she had to insult us so horribly, but yeah, I'll be going with the whiskey and the ginger ale tonight.
By the way, Kelsey, we put in a thing with SBR that once football season is done, and there might be like a layoff here until we get to baseball season on like doing shows, we were thinking of having a show called like My Two Dads, where you would come on, you'd ask us questions about like, sage veteran advice. And even if you were dating somebody, we would okay it or maybe decline it. What do you think? I mean, I think this could be a big hit on the internet.
That's definitely watchable.
See?
Better than the best.
Kenny would love that.
Yeah.
Kenny would be we'd have him on at least for a segment saying, hey, look, I mean, is this guy okay to go out with? I mean, I think they could go far here on the channel.
Yeah.
He would say no every time.
Well, yeah, obviously. Stay away from the damn kickers.
Christmas Eve action here, folks. Thank you. A couple hundred people spending their time with us here. I know a lot of people will watch more on the replay. Once again, thank you for the thumbs up. If you're watching on replay, you can still hit the thumbs up and also leave a message, not in the live chat box, but in the comment section below. So we do thank you here. It is Christmas. We're going to spend it with our families. And yes, we are going to take some cocktails here and get after it and have some fun. But I do thank you guys for joining us today, and it was a lot of fun to go over. We will be back once again on Sunday for that full slate of NFL action, live at 12 p.m. Eastern on the closing line right here at sportsbookreview.com. For everybody from the channel here, wishing you a Merry Christmas. I'm Donnie Seymour. She's Kelsey Kramer. He's Kyle Purviance. We are sportsbookreview.com. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas Eve, and we'll catch you on Sunday, guys. Good luck.